This is the Simpid. I'm Michi and welcome guys to this special video, special edition of sim racing as an sport, sim racing as an esport, how body fitness, how body strength contributes to your sim racing performance. So in this video today, I'm actually going to talk about proper sports. So, of course, I don't want you guys to be sitting there and looking at me running all the time, so I just got this as a little cliffhanger. However, we want to speak about this topic of personal fitness, body strength, stamina, how it really contributes to your sim racing performance on a personal level, or according to my personal observations. Now, you do know that I have been a sparring partner in the Formula 3 2 years ago, sitting in a big and expensive simulator there in Hanover. And that simulator had a 140 kilogram hydraulic brake. And just pressing 140 kilograms all the time for doing 100% brake input can be exhausting, especially if you do it over a longer period. So, you know, also I do have this beauty of a rig there in the back, a 20 Newton meter Michi OSW wheel, then the Huizenfeld sprint pedals, which at least come with 60 kilogram overload cell pedal as per default, and then you got rubbers that you can put in the brake, so it's get up to 80 or I think 90 kilograms as a maximum braking force. And then we had Le Mans 24 of Virtual Endurance Championship. We had the virtual Le Mans 24 of FIA and WEC hosted by ACO. And I really felt my right vein to the muscle to jam, like, you know, pressing the throttle so long all the time. It really, with all the practice, got me to a point where, like, I'm happy to have a break now. And you could also have seen it to a certain extent, like what was going on in my body, what was going on with myself when looking at the scenery of the live onboard. So here is the scene with me fighting against Jan van der Heijden. Look into the Fort chicanes, how we fight the wheel, how we fight the car with the entire body. And then you see Jan being considerably chilled, considerably being like gently just moving the wheel and just taking the corners like on a normal Sunday drive. And I mean, as a perfect comparison, I fight the wheel so much. I'm so focused. And you know what? Jan is just as much focused as I am, but he's a lot more mature. He has a lot more chill. He has a lot more control. Now, have a look into Tête Rouge. Check me out. Fighting the car as much as I can, maybe also overdriving and over pushing it. And he was just right within the limits. And at the same time, you know, I was looking at it, it's like, okay, so Jan could be really, really chill and really, really cool, and I don't really think they had a big setup advantage. Yet though, maybe I was overdoing it on everything else. So I thought about, let's investigate that a little bit, and let's do some personal research on how things are going to be, or how my body reacts on on the sim racing stuff. Now, you probably would say, how hard can it be? Like, I can drive my standard road car and it just doesn't stress me at all. Yeah, but that's just because the standard road car has a brake force increasement, a brake force helping system, brake force generator, I think it's called. It has power steering, so you don't need to really put a lot of effort in driving your road car, so you know each and every other person could drive it regardless of their physical body situation. So racing a race car, you need to be 100% fit. You need to be so good in stamina. You need to be so good in having enough muscles to cope with the forces and anything. As for a real race car, without, obviously I have never raced a race car, but you just look at the guys and see those guys are going to the gym very regularly. Now, the same is beneficial as well for the sim racing thing, because the more stamina you have, the more body forces you have, the more physical strength you have, the more easy it's for you to turn wheels, to not get fatigue, and to just focus and concentration, to have your mental abilities fully focused on the job. And yeah, looking at how Jan von der Heide was sort of easily doing the job behind me, I was like, okay, let's have a look. How is my current stuff, or how is my current body reacting to to sim racing things? And I've come up with a little analysis, and I just want to give you a personal insight into that. And we can have a look into the FSR race that was conducted 21st of June. So that is the data from it. I've already shown it on the stream itself. Here we can clearly see qualifying, which you see the out lap. Then you see the first lap when I go from 135 to nearly 176 on the beats per minute. Then I had hit this debris, had a second out lap, and just got at it again. And I even felt that pressure right here, is that you need to get a kind of good lap in. And then I got a lap in that would have got me fourth in the end or something. And I was like, okay, I've at least reached 95% of what I should or could have done in the event itself. And then the last lap was I was at it 100%, but I didn't feel that pressure. And that is a very interesting thing, and there's a very much that tells this data here, because here I was pressured by thoughts, I was pressured in my head. You need to get that lap in, you need to have a bunker lap, something that you can really work on and optimize and go flat out with full risk in the last run, which I achieved here. And then I went flat out in the other run, a lot more calm, a lot more controlled. I eventually improved by just 50,000, still throwing something away, but you can see a clear difference between here and there. It's like here, my brain was absolutely aware that I had a shit lap. Sorry, excuse the language, but here I was like 2 seconds off due to hitting the debris in the last corner. So that was going on just right there. You can see 153 beats per minute, an average maximum 181. Yeah, looking into the race then, here clearly the race start with a roughly 160. Then the first stint was literally cruising behind the guys, saving tires and everything. Then we had the first pit stop roughly here, where pit road got a bit busy, and we had to find our way around that, which got the heart rate up a little bit. And then we had the second stint where we were behind David Mrožek. That could actually been the fight with David Mrožek about the position after re-entering the track. And again, we were like saving the tires a lot, and then here we had to decide to do a move round the outside into turn one, and look where we got up to. I can really feel it, like, you know, it's like a switch in the head turning on. It's like, okay, now is attack mode, and it should never get me up there. And after that, obviously, I was pushing quite hard to get to Petter, to stay in the DRS with Petter Böja, and sort of run away from David Mrožek, and at the same time don't crash, see how the car behaves, how the balance behaves and all that. But yeah, I mean, looking at over the period here, 150 beats per minute is still too high. We had a maximum of 170, minimum of 120, but roughly we're running, yeah, between 145 and 150. However, if you look into the final stint of the race, that is 164 as an average, with 182 as a maximum. So there was quite some stuff going on in the body. And this is located because of two things. One thing is the actual physical thing that's going on in the sim. You know, operating the wheel, operating the pedals, fighting the force feedback, stuff like that. And since your body is still somewhat in silent condition or a chilly condition, that should not get you up more than, let's say, 120, 125 beats per minute. But then there is the second thing, is your head. Like, heartbeat and and body performance is being controlled by two major things, like a protagonist and an antagonist thing, which is, like the nerve control system that is being operated by a protagonist and an antagonist. I don't know the chemical exact or biological anatomic exact pronunciation for that, but just say there's a protagonist that drives you up and there's an antagonist that cools you down, and they should be in a good balance. What I see here compared to Jan von der Heide is that he is in balance, but for me personally, the protagonist is so much more up that the antagonist isn't really doing something against that. Now, one could say, well, you still did a good job, you finished third, but yeah, was once again sitting there in the wheel, and it wasn't controlled, and that is an issue, because as a pro, or as a, yes, trying to be a pro, trying to be a really decent guy, is you want to be A, controlled, B, consecutive, and C, what was the other word? Constant. And consecutive, competitive, whatever. You know what I mean. Um, and that can be more easily achieved with, with better mental strength. So, don't let things come to your head like it happened to me in qualifying, where it was like, you need to get that lap in. Don't let that come to your mind and raise the a protagonist up and make the antagonist sleep. So you need to keep that balance in. And it became very apparent to me that FSR race kind of puts me into the same condition, same body condition than a 10-kilometer walk, more or less. Like, you see here quite a lot, we're starting 160 beats per minute, going up to 178 after reaching 5 kilometers, and then stay in the red zone for the rest of the run. That was actually a run I did like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think the end of May, running 10 kilometers to get ready for handball again, and obviously to stay in shape. Like, okay, I really recognized myself, okay, I had to do something. And then there is a sprint race which got us high up there, and then there's VEC like 2 weeks before, the 24-hour race. I took the opening stages of the race, so the first two stints, and things were kind of hectic. People were a lot of traffic, a lot of stuff to deal with, and low railroad condition. We still had an average heart rate of 133, and that should be the absolute maximum in any kind of race. Now, there's point proven also that in an endurance race you're working entirely different. You're more looking towards that consistency, towards that controlled consecutive driving that you do. So that was a Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. doing the start. Looking at what happened later that evening or later in the night, 5 a.m. in the morning, we got back in the car for our double stint. Now look at this, like just 95 beats per minute. It's not like because we were fatigued, or not like because we were tired. It was just because we were super controlled. We were cooled down. We had nothing going on in our head really. We just focused on our job, and that is the optimal condition. So here you see the training load is milled over 1 hour 53. Here you see the training load is very demanding, over 2 hours 15, going just into the blue area. And then obviously very demanding also is the FSR race. Now you don't feel physically exhausted, of course, but you feel quite some relief and quite some adrenaline. I could not sleep the other day until 2 a.m. in the morning, which was like still 4 hours after finishing the race, until all the adrenaline from the protagonist got washed out of the body. So that is a lot of stuff that is going on. So you can really compare this FSR race on the heart rate wise to a 10 kilometers run to a certain extent. Like, of course, a 10 kilometers run gets physical, a lot more exhausting after here, since the beats per minute here rise up to the absolute maximum, like red area, due to the fact that we're fighting fatigue, we're fighting weakness of the muscles, getting empty batteries and stuff. But that is important to get you to the next level. So your body just doesn't get better from you just running in the green or in the yellow area. You need to push yourselves into the red zone in order to increase the level of your body, in order to increase the stamina. And then the next time you run, you may still be in the red area, but the third time you run a 10 kilometers run, you may come down into the yellow and then maybe be able in the same time to run a kilometers more or whatever. Just to give you an idea of what is exactly going on, here is a little brief of my diary. Don't look at the grey things. That was stuff I shouldn't have done in order to complete my personal program, which I failed to do. And guess why? Yes, because from here, from the 13th of May up to the 31st of May, we had 13 competitive races in 19 days. It's like just way too much stuff going on. GT Challenge here. That has been an interesting one as well, I think. So GT Challenge was also 125 beats per minute. That is just as good as it, or as high as it could be. Here I didn't wear the thing anymore, so I should look at that basically. 126 in average. Still got some highs as we were doing some battling. Well, it's just like, very edgy, very short before being too high in general. Yeah, then you see there was a lot of stuff I did, running here, did a running here, which was even very demanding. Really over exaggerated on that one. Going roughly 11 kilometers, and I started really low, but at the end I got so exhausted. I remember that run. I got really, really exhausted in the end. But that is what it is all about when we're speaking about sim racing, and we're speaking about strength, whether this is mental strength or whether this is physical body strength. And there's a lot of stuff going on in your body when you do race. And some people may say, oh, this is totally wrong and this is just totally over educated or over judged, overpowered, overruled, overly made important by me. I'm happy you guys think that, but it's just my personal opinion, and I know that a lot of people are working with real life drivers to get them right into the zone, like to get the final bits and pieces out of their bodies just from focusing on the job while not kind of overriding on your body. And that is something I also addressed in our Simracers performance guide. So you can buy this guide here at me. So just write me in mail, simracing@michi-hoya.com with the subject Simracers performance guide. There you get car setup, information, technical explanations, racecraft theory, strategy planning and build up, as much as driver's performance tips. The document is 77 pages, and especially down here we have our articles about mental strength. Here you got also some information about fitness. So it is a personal paragraph here, so me on maximizing the use of your personal abilities, talking a little bit more about the theoretical impact of how body fitness, how personal fitness and physical strength also supports your mental strength and therefore gets you more into the zone, more concentrated, more consecutive. So as I said, fitness and physical strength have an impact on things sim racers definitely need a lot, which is concentration, durability, awareness, consistency, mental strength. With playing handball, the team that is more aware, more concentrated, and not fighting fatigue as much in the 55th of 60 minutes is maybe gonna do the important points when it's still tied at that point. So you can also carry that over into sim racing, and yeah, you guys can have a read up of that. The guide costs €10 as far as I'm concerned, and there's also some paragraph about meditation, getting yourself into the zone. A little technique I used to kind of get my self-awareness up, to focus and learn how to concentrate and how to really perceive certain things going on. And yeah, in the end, everything I did got me to the point where I am right now. It's not like you can point out a specific thing. It's not like, oh, it's a simulator that made me better, or oh, it's the running that made me better, or ooh, I don't know, doing some weird meditation is what made me better. It's the combination of everything. Like, you practice, you work, you educate yourself, you you also get the stress out while doing running, and at the same time you're doing something for your body strength that supports you in the next race. It's a combination of things that gets you up to speed. But I hope with this short video, well, short, it's over 20 minutes, but I hope that I could give you guys somewhat an insight of how sports this esport is. And then it's all about that professionalism as well. So I do know that other sim racers, and I don't want to quote any names right now, they are looking at videos, interviews, podcasts, articles, whatever. They look out, is there something the real lifers have dealt in real life with? Could this occur to me in sim racing as well? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe 100%. If yes, the workaround that this guy used, can I use this as well for my issue? And those guys are right up there because they don't stop working. They maximize their practice, they maximize their abilities, they maximize their workarounds, and at the end of the day, they get in there, they get the job done, and they do it with great consistency, with great durability. They are always up there, so they're making definitely some things right. And then I'm pretty sure that looking at things and taking them over, despite they're in a different environment, but still be applicable to the sim racing business itself, is yeah, it's a game changer for them, and maybe can be a game changer for you. So if you guys have any further questions about this topic, or just want to get in touch, just want to get a discussion going, feel free to leave a comment in the comment area below. Feel free to put down the questions in the comment area below, and make sure to give the video a thumbs up. I'm gonna have a look at the comments and the questions and get them answered 100%. And obviously dislike the video, put down the dislike button, but please, please, please give some honest feedback. What shall I do different the next time, and what can I do better? How can I improve? That would be massively appreciated. And other than that, if you guys do appreciate the content and the videos about sim racing and racing that we do, I would appreciate it mega if you hit the subscribe button and make this community grow. Other than that, I hope I see you guys in my next race, on my next stream, and the next show. Guys, thank you so much for watching. This is the Simpid. I'm Michi, and I'll see you guys out on the track.